In this video, let's learn what is click tracking in GTM. Some of you may say click tracking is common, we do it every day. So what's the big deal? Well, if you think about it, clicks are the most ubiquitous and important action that you provide to your users on the website. And by the end of this video, I'm pretty certain that you will learn a few things that you may not have thought about before, even if you have done some work with GTM. So there could be some small bits of information that could be useful to you. And if you're new to this, I guarantee you that once you complete this video, you will have a complete command of how to track clicks and what do they mean internally, the concepts and everything else. So let's not wait and let's get started. Welcome users, and how are you doing? Let's quickly go back to the screen, and here you will see that I have a website. There's a dummy e-commerce shop that I generally use for demoing. So you can buy products from here, but you'll not get it delivered. So it's your choice, right? Now, let's quickly see what does this website have. Now, when we are talking about clicks, a click is generally on these kind of links. For example, this my account, isn't it? So users would generally go to the website, they would click on my account, and they would go to this account page. Or it is also possible that they would actually go to, let's say, this checkout link and click on that. But there are many other places that a user can click on this particular page. For example, they can go to this box over here, select that in, write in t-shirts, right? And they hit enter and they get the results for t-shirt over here. All right. Also, what they can do is they can actually click on this blank place. I'm just clicking on this blank place, right? And I can click on this heading also. But in some cases, these clicks don't work. You see, I'm clicking, nothing happens. While in some cases, something gets selected. While in some cases, there are entire page transfers. It moves to a different location, the website, right? So there are so many ways in which you can make clicks, and there are so many things that happen behind the website. This is what we want to know, first of all. You see, on this image, if I click, I go to a different location. So there are multiple types of clicks, and you need to know that what do these clicks mean. To do that, we will check what makes this page. Right click on anywhere on the page, or let's do this. Right click on this text. Okay, just simple right click and then inspect. And here you see that the entire code, this is the HTML code that is creating this page. Okay, so for example, if I hover on this code line, you see the dummy e-commerce page is getting selected. What if I hover over here? This entire block is getting selected. What if I go above and let's say hover over here? The header block, the top block is getting selected. Okay, which means that this particular piece of line and what is there inside this line is responsible for drawing this entire block over here. Same is the case with the entire page. Now, what I want you to look at is that over here, let's say right click and inspect once again, this line of HTML code. Now, we'll not learn how to code, but we'll try to understand a few concepts that will help us immensely when we are working with GTM. Okay, so for example, here you see that the line of code starts with an angular bracket. All these lines of code starts with angular bracket. That's not important for us. What is important is what comes after that. So there's a h1 that comes after that angular bracket. Now, what does this h1 mean? This h1 means that the type of, the material that's written, that's available on the screen, is showing up, the content that is showing up on the screen is of the type h1. h1 means heading 1. The content that is showing on the screen is of type h1. All right. Now, if you want to see a contrary version of this, if I right click on this text over here on the link and say inspect, you'll find something different happening. This is showing up as A, right? So what it means is that the content type that is showing up on the screen is of type A. A means a link. H1 means heading 1. H2 is available. So H2 means heading 2, smaller text. Then there is there's a text over here that is known as P. So if I right click over here, you'll see P. Okay, P is paragraph, and this particular piece which takes a user from one page to another is known as a link. A is known as a link. All right. Now, I hope that you understand. There are many such kind of items you will see. So if I right click on the home page, click on inspect, you will see this is also an A type, but it is enclosed inside an LI type. LI is line item. So let's not worry about so many details. All we need to worry about right now is there are A type of items over here. These are links, and there are other that are not A. All right, and this is what makes the difference when you click on a text over here versus when you click on a link over here. This is what makes a difference. Why? Because after A, you see there is an href, right? So these options that you see after the element are known as attributes. So all the link elements will have an attribute called href. And against that href, you'll see a value that has been inserted over here. This is the same value that a user clicks and goes to that page. Okay, is the URL of that particular page. This is the account page, and the value is inserted. So if I change and make it something else, it will behave differently. It will try to take the user to that particular page. So far, so good, right? There are other kinds of attributes as well. For example, if I right click over here, click on inspect, you'll see there's a class attribute over here. So the class attribute is used for various design of the elements on the screen. For example, the font can be black. It can be a Arial style of font. The background can be white and so on, right? So those things are taken care by something known as CSS, and CSS extensively uses these attributes. We don't need to again worry about that. All we need to know that there are these kind of attributes that are important. All right. You will also see that there is a text over here. So I can just edit that text and that will change this on the screen. Okay. But if I refresh, it will again load the page and you'll see the previous version coming up, but you can play around with these things. You can just delete this line if you want to. So all we need to know at this point is the type of element that we are looking at. And there are these attributes that we are going to make use of as we move forward. Okay. So if this is clear to you at this point of time, it's time for us to move to the GTM and see some more details about what's going on inside the GTM account. Okay. So here is the GTM account that is connected to TryShop Neil Live. Okay. If you don't know how GTM is connected, what GTM is all about, I have an entire 1 hour video tutorial to explain this to you. You can just check that out. But right now, what we are going to do, we are going to take it to the next step. So once your GTM is ready, how do we go about understanding this click tracking? So if a user clicks on this menu item and I have to track this user click, which means that I need to capture how many times this user has clicked on a certain link, let's say, because that's what is analytics, right? You want to capture the data and then analyze. If you want to do that, how GTM knows that something is happening on the website? And it will again go back to GTM and we'll see the same thing that we saw in a practical way on the screen inside GTM as well. You'll shortly see what I mean. So let's click on this preview button over here. What does preview button do? Preview button opens something known as a tag assistant. Tag assistant is a place where you can test what is going on inside GTM. You can see various values when a user takes an action. You can see at what point a user is taking action. You can see on what page the user has taken action. All these things you can just see. What GTM is seeing, you can also see the same. Okay, we'll shortly see what I mean. Now here I have inserted the URL tryshop.neil.live. Okay, HTTPS. Click on connect. And now we are inside the website. And you will note that there is a website window that has opened up based on the URL that I had inserted in the tag assistant. And over here, I'm getting a message called connected. Over here, I'm getting a message in the corner called connected. All right, so the important thing to note on this screen, the tag assistant screen, is this left side menu. You see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events showing up. These are Google Tag Manager events. Okay, don't confuse it with the GA4 events if some of you have worked on that before. These are different. Okay, the GTM events are showing the status of the page and what is the user interaction on the page. For example, when the page loaded, all these events were fired. These are page loaded fire events. Don't worry about these as of now. What we are interested in is when I click, let's say on this my account link, what happens? Let's click over here. So I went to the my account page. What you'll see over here is the 7th number and the 6th number event shows up as click and link click. This is just after the Windows loaded. The next interaction that happened on the page was the click. And we see that the 6th option over here is click and the 7th option is link click. And then this page moves to another page, the my account page, and the set of page load events are again loaded for that particular page. What does click mean over here? What does link click mean over here? So, all right, I have split the screen so that we can see it in parallel. Now, on the right hand side, the website is showing up. And if I were to select this box over here. Okay, just select the box. You will see that the 15th number event just popped up and it shows click, but there is no link click. Link click is only showing up over here when we had clicked on a link, for example, my account link. You see, again, there is a link click and the page loaded and went to the new page. So the learning over here is you can click on any place on the page and you will get a feedback event called click. But only when you click on a link, you'll get two events, click and link click. Okay, the click event shows that a click happened on a HTML element. The link click shows that a click happened on the typical type of HTML element that is known as a link. So I hope that this makes sense. All right. Next, what we will do is we are going to see what's happening inside that particular click. What does GTM know more about that click? So let's first of all select this link click option and we'll go inside the variables tab over here. You will see that the variable tab has got a lot of data that's trying to capture. Okay, let me just maximize it a little so that you can see. All right, we are seeing a lot of data points. What we are interested in is only a few of them, and if you are trying to do this on your website, on your GTM, you may not be seeing so many. Don't worry about that. That's not the goal of this website or chapter. What we are going to do is we are going to take a look at this click element and some more. So first of all, click element says that all this value is there at this point. When the link got clicked, the click element got this value. Okay, and this value, don't have to worry about all of it. All you need to see is the last option that says A over here. What if it was a click, simple click? You will see that the last option is not an A, right? Last option is a search field. This came from the search box click that we did. But for a link click, the last option shows up as A. All right. So I hope that that makes sense. Now, other aspects of this that you should know is the click text. Every time you click at some point, and if it has a text, what does that text mean? Remember when we had clicked on this text over here, inspect, all right? We had seen that inside the HTML element, there is a text over here. Therefore, if some element has some text, that text is the information that is captured by GTM as link click. So when you clicked on that button, the text for that button was my account. And that's what you are seeing over here. Some other important things that you see are click target, click text, click URL. Click URL will only be present for link clicks. Why? Because the URL that a user goes to on clicking that link has got importance in this case. But if I have to click on the search box and see, you will not find anything in the click URL. Make sense? So all these options are important. There is click classes. Remember the classes that we had seen? These classes are going to be very important for you in tracking something. Okay, so you should know what these are. Therefore, to summarize, what we have learned till now is every time a user happens to take an action on some of the pages on the website, those actions are captured by GTM if a GTM is connected, and they're captured in form of events. These events also have some additional information. There are information about the text of that click, what kind of element got clicked, the href, the URL of that click, some click targets if present, click classes, and all other kinds of attributes that were associated with that particular click. Just to quickly see, if I had to click on this part, okay, the final click that we just did, here too, if you go to variables, you will see that the type was heading, okay, the element type, and there's no URL, and the text is this here dummy e-commerce page. So all this information is getting captured on the go live on your HTML website. And that is passed on to the GTM interface where we are able to study it right now. Now, if this is clear, one final thing that we want to see over here is the data layer part. I'll just give you a small glimpse of this because this goes inside the code. And therefore, we need to know some bit of JavaScript and all those things to understand it. But right now is not the time. Right now, we are trying to learn the basics. Every time a user action happens on the page, at that point, this information that we are able to see in variables are sent by a component called data layer to GTM. Okay, so data layer has some capability to capture all these things in some form. For example, if you see the event name is shown as gtm.click. Now this directly translates to a GTM click event that we had seen on this particular tab. the 37th number event. If you go to the link click and look at the data layer, you will see that it says gtm.link click. Okay, so everything starts from here, the data layer. That is converted into a good looking UI for us, a user interface where you can see it in a human readable format without all those pieces of lines of code. You will have some more information like what was the element that got clicked, which translates into the variables tab that we saw as a click element. Okay, if we keep moving forward, click classes are there, click URL, element URL is the click URL that's there, and so on. So many things are available, right? Element text, which link got clicked, this time the homepage menu got clicked. I hope you get the idea, right? Now, let's go back to the tags. Let's close all these over here. And now we'll start seeing the magic of what we have learned till this point. Okay, so we are going to take care of a very simple activity. That is, when I hover on this part and there are some items added to the cart, you will see that there's a view cart button that shows up over here. Okay, and there is checkout button that shows up over here. Let's right click on this view cart and click on inspect. Now you see that here the button element is showing up as A, that's the link. Okay, all we did, the hard work, is now going to pay off. We'll go through these stuff faster. It's a link and there are some class elements over here. We'll take care of that later. And there is also the link value over here. So if I have to go ahead and click on view cart, I will go to the cart page. Now what we are going to do is we are going to measure how many times a user clicks on this view cart button. What's the benefit? We may be able to figure out whether this button has got a lot of use on the website, whether users are really clicking on this button or it's just going to waste. That's what we are going to figure out. Okay. Now this is our goal over here, that when someone clicks on the view cart button, we want to see that how many times users generally click on this button, whether it's useful or not. And the way to do it is to capture these clicks using GTM and send it to the Google Analytics account, where it will get stored as an event. If you want to know about this entire mechanism of how to connect a Google Analytics account and a GTM and your website, I'll give you a very quick overview. But if you want to learn about this in detail, obviously you will have to check out my longer videos on this entire thing. Okay, so over here you will see that the Google Analytics account that I'm using currently, and it's connected to the website, is showing up. Okay, and what I have done is inside this account, if you go to admin and data streams, and here you have got a data stream. If you don't have a data stream, you have to create one by clicking on the web part. Okay, and once you have done creating the data stream, you will see that it gives you a measurement ID. Okay, so you have to copy this measurement ID, keep it with you, then go to the Google Tag Manager account. And in the Tag Manager account, you have to create a new tag. Open the tag configuration by clicking on this empty area. Select Google Analytics, select the Google tag, the copy that you had done from here of the measurement ID, paste it here like this. Then in the trigger, select all pages, give it a name. You can give any name over here, for example, tag or whatever you wish to, that doesn't matter. Okay, once this configuration is done, click on save, submit this, click on save. Okay, and then go ahead and submit it, click on publish, and your connection will be made. Okay, the details of this you'll have to learn from my different videos, but if you have not done this connection, you can go about doing it like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to discard this because I have already done the connection. And if you have done the connection, you will see something like this. If I go to preview, go to try shop, and my page is loaded over here, right? The connection is showing us connected. So if you are seeing that, you'll see that the tag that we just created got fired. Okay, here. Now this is the one that I created before. I just had shown you the steps to create a new one, but this is a tag which was created using the same steps, and it shows fired. And you will see in the analytics account, if you go to the real-time reports, their real-time overview, that a new user is showing up over here, right? Active users, one got just loaded. This is one way to see it. The another way to see it is going to admin. And here, you see this option of debug view inside admin of data display. click on the debug view. And remember, you need admin permission to do all of these things, okay? And in this debug view, you see that there is this entire timeline of the user who just logged in. This particular user using the tag assistant is showing up, okay? Now you can go ahead and check which page they're on, what are the different values and all those things. This is a more detailed way of seeing the debug user. That is just debug user is a testing user, okay, who is just looking at different values over here, okay? So these are the ways to confirm that your page is loading and the page is connected to Google Analytics 4 and you're getting all these page view events and so on, okay? The underlying logic and everything behind that, you can check out my other videos. Now let's go back to what we are doing. We'll close the tag assistant for now. We don't need it. And we'll go to the reports. And we'll keep this at a real-time overview. All right. Now inside Google Tag Manager, our job is to capture the button click over here, view card. Now let's right click on this view card button, click on inspect, and let's take a closer look at this button. Now what is interesting is, along with this A element, there is an href and the class values are over here. There are three different class values that you can see: button, view card, and wc-forward. Now it so happens that the button below, the checkout button, right? This button below, this also has got three classes: button, checkout, and wc forward. Now if in some way we had to use this class to uniquely identify this button of all the elements on this page. So there is a h1 heading 1 title over here, right? User could have clicked over here. We can't control where a user clicks, right? They could have clicked on this empty space. They could have clicked on accessories. They could have clicked on sample page. But we, at this point of time, we are not interested in all those. What we are interested in is this particular click of view card. In some way, we need to uniquely identify this button when it gets clicked versus all the clicks that can happen on all the different components of this page. I hope that you are on the same page. So how to uniquely identify? The elements of this button are going to help us uniquely identify it. Elements and attributes. So in this case, the attribute that I see, which I found interesting, was the class, right? The class view card, button, and wc forward. This looks interesting to me, okay? But let's see if it is really useful. Let's say that if there is another view card class. So there are three classes, okay? These are not one single class. You see there is space in between. So this particular button element, the ahref element, has got three classes. The first is button, second is view card, and wc forward is the third one. So for example, let's select this wc forward first of all. We'll just copy it from here, okay? Right click, copy. Then we'll do a Control F on this window. You see there is a search box that opened. We'll paste it like this. And we'll make a search of this wc forward. So we see that the wc forward is on this button that we are currently trying to figure out. The wc forward is also there on the next button, okay? So this particular class wc-forward is not uniquely identifying one button, but is identifying two buttons. Is it there many more times? Okay, there is some other kind of code over here. So I think there are two places where this button is identifying two different elements, okay? Both of them are links. The first is the view card and the second is the checkout button. So if I were to trying to uniquely identify this button, that would not be possible, right? Because there are two buttons with the same thing. So if I had to find out some mechanism to check, okay, if the element has got a wc-forward class, please send a link click or something like that, that would work, because if someone would click on a checkout button, even they had the wc forward class, right? So that becomes a problem for us. Similarly, if you see this button, that is also present over here. The only class that is unique on this page is view-card, and we'll do a quick check. We'll copy it from here and do a Control F, paste the view card. You see there's only one element that has the view card button. So if there was some mechanism in which you would say that if a click happens, right? If a click happens somewhere on the screen and the click is on an element that has got a class present view-card, then that element must be the ahref element. Okay, again, listen to the statement once again. If a click happened on any place on the screen on your page and that particular element has a class view-cart. It must be the button that is view cart button that we are trying to track. If the click happens on an element that has wc-forward class, it may not necessarily be the view cart button, it could also be the checkout button, where if a user clicked on the checkout button, we'll misinterpret it as a click on the view cart and we'll get wrong results. Carefully, again, if you want to rewind, go back and listen to the statement. And this is where the crux of tracking lies. Okay, let's go to GTM, and once we follow these steps, you will see that it is crystal clear to you what's happening. All right, so here inside GTM, what we are going to do, we are going to create a trigger. Triggers are used for tracking these kind of button elements or any kind of elements. Okay, a trigger triggers event. Okay, whenever these kind of interactions happen, you'll see. So what I'm going to do, there are two triggers already created. We'll not worry about that. We'll create a new trigger. All right. In the new trigger, click on this empty area. Now go through what kinds of triggers we can create. We can create everything, from page loads to if element becomes visible, if there is a form submission, and we can also do the click kind of triggers. So as you can see, the case that we are currently trying to solve involves a click. And what kind of element does this click go to? It is not all elements, right? It's links. Remember, we did all this exercise on links. So we'll select just links from here. Make sense? Now, in this just links, what's happening? So let's say I give this a name, okay? Just links trigger. So what is the problem with this particular trigger right now? This just links trigger would fire on every single click because we have not given the qualifying criteria of that classes, right? We have to qualify this, and the qualification happens in this area. This trigger fires on all link clicks, which means that every time there is a link over here, here, whatever, wherever there is a link, if someone clicks on these links, this particular trigger will just kick. Okay, we'll see the example, but here we don't want all link clicks. Quite simple, right? We want only some link clicks. And in our case, the some link click has that qualifying condition that the element that got clicked must have a class which is view-cart. Now, how do we achieve that? To do that, we'll open this drop down. This is where we'll define the qualifying criteria. Now, in this case, we have got this click classes, right? Remember the variables where we are seeing those classes? This is now going to be the variable. Now, what we are going to do whenever a click happens over there, okay, let's quickly see this as an example before we move forward. Stay here, just link clicks, all link clicks, same. Let's see what happens. Let's click on preview. Okay, try shop.nail.live. The connection is made right now. Okay, now if I had to click on my account, you see the link click happened over here. Okay, if you go to the variables, you will see that the click class over here is nothing because my account, if you see this my account and inspect it, see there is no class over here. There is an href, there is an area-current, but there is no class. Okay, now what if I were to click on view cart over here? Let's click there. All right, now this is the link click from the view cart, and here you will see that click classes has button and then view cart and then WC forward. No other element click on this page. Wherever we want to click, nowhere you will find the same classes, nowhere. Okay, you can see all these clicks, nowhere the click classes is same because we have done our homework. We have checked that already. GTM is also just capturing those classes and putting it over here. All we need to do now is then find this qualifying criteria where click classes should contain. Click classes should contain, where is our link click? There. Click classes should contain the view cart, class. That's the goal. So let's go back to the tag manager. I hope that you are getting a hang of this. Now let's open this just link triggers once again. We'll open it. We'll do some link clicks. We'll say click classes contains not equal to, because equal to the entire class is made of class set is made of 3 different classes, right? So equal to will try to compare the entire set from button to WC forward and the cart and so on. Only contains, and here we'll say view hyphen cart. All right. Now this condition guarantees that only that particular button when it clicks will have this trigger activated. Okay, let's save this. And by the way, if you are not seeing click classes in this list for you, okay, what you need to do, scroll down that list, choose built-in variable and select click classes. You see there is a tick over here because I have selected it. For you, probably it will not be in the tick state. So you just need to select it like this and it will show up. Okay. Now we'll give a good name to this. We'll say just links. JL is just links. And here we'll say view cart click. Okay, view cart is the button and clicked is the action. Let's save it. Okay, so now we have got a trigger ready. Now trigger defines the capture at a point where that particular button click happened. Okay, the capture at that point that, okay, a button click happened. I know that this is done. But the next piece of this is what do we do with that? Okay, that button click happened. Now what can we do? What can we do? We can send a conversion to Google Ads. We could have sent an event to Google Analytics. You could have sent this information to any kind of third-party software. Okay, that's the idea. That whenever a trigger fires, it has got that entire information. Okay, there's a button click happened. This button click was a view cart because the internal logic has been put in such a way. Now it's our responsibility to do something about it. In this case, as I said, you can send it to Google Ads saying that, well, a conversion happened on the click of this button. You can send it to Google Analytics saying that view cart button was clicked once. You could send it to a third-party solution saying that view cart button was clicked once, and so on. In our case, we are going to send a Google Analytics event. These events accumulate over a period of time and give you a sense of how many times every single day, every single month, this button keeps on getting clicked. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do that inside the tags. The tags is the one that actually does the work. Listens to your direction and does the action that you want to be done on the fire of a trigger. The tags do the work when a trigger pushes it to do the work. In our case, a trigger will push it to do the work when the view cart button got clicked. The work can be anything. For example, right now I can write a Google Ads tag which sends a conversion to Google Ads. Okay, but that's not our case. In our case, we are going to fire a Google Analytics 4 event that will send data to Google Analytics 4 that once again this button was clicked. Okay, and Google Analytics will keep on updating its database on how many times this button gets clicked, and over a period of time it will give you an entire report of it got clicked 5, 10, 20 times and so on. So let's quickly open the tag over here, and in this tag we are going to open the tag configuration. We'll go to the Google Analytics and we'll select the Google Analytics GA4 event. Why? Because we are trying to fire a GA4 event. Select that. Measurement ID is the ID of your analytics account. Remember that ID that we had seen inside the admin data stream area? That's the one. Now I have saved this measurement ID as a variable, this one. If you want to see what's there inside the variable, let's quickly see that. Discard. You can go to variables. You can create your own variables in the user defined variables. And in the user defined variables, you have to click on new variable configuration. Okay, click on that empty area, scroll down, click on constant and pass in the measurement ID over here. So I can go to admin once again, data streams. Copy this from here and just pass it over here. Okay, so far that's the way you do and you save it. So I've already done it, just discard it and yeah, just discard it. You see over here I have done it already. It's the same thing. I've passed it as a constant. So every time I try to refer this variable, it will always pass me this value, okay, which is our account value. Now this is what we are going to use, right? So again, let's start with a new tag. Click on this empty area, Google Analytics 4 event, measurement ID. You will get access to the variables with this box image over here. Let's open it. There you go. We have to give an event name. You can give anything. I'll say view card quiet. All right, or just say view card. That is good enough. You don't need a or let's say view card, mini view card, right? Mini view card, because that's the mini menu. Now here you can name it anything. I'll say event because it's an event type. Mini view card, and the action is clicked, so we go with clicked, right? So far so good. Now in the triggering section, all we need to do, click on this empty area and select the trigger that we had created, right? View card. So what is the meaning of this entire thing that we have done? The meaning is whenever the view card button is clicked on the screen, it will have a class called view-card. Therefore, this trigger has got the logic to capture whenever there is a view-card present in the element that got clicked on the browser. And this time, because there is only one element, the view card button that has got this particular class attached to it, it will fire only when that button gets clicked. And when this trigger gets fired, it invokes this particular tag configuration. This tag configuration is a type of GA4 event. Whenever this invokes, it sends an information to the Google Analytics account that has this measurement ID. Okay, that there is an event mini view card that has been invoked once again. So Google Analytics account gets this information, updates its database by +1, and then it keeps the data ready for you for your analysis over months, dates, periods, and so on. So I hope that this entire chain makes sense. If it doesn't, again, rewind back 1 minute, listen to this entire chain of events. Button click happens, then it goes to GTM. GTM figures out, okay, this is the class, and there is a trigger waiting on this class, and so on. So listen to this entire conversation once again. You will figure out what's happening. And once you figure out what's happening, it's going to be a very, very powerful tool in your hands. You can do anything, any kind of action. You can capture anything. You can do whatever you want with your GTM. That's a guarantee. All right. So now once this is done, we'll save this entire stuff. Okay. And we'll test it. We'll test with preview. Continue. Okay. So here our browser is open. All right. So at this point, okay, at this point, you will see that the mini view card has not fired. Now, what if I click on somewhere? Let's say I click on checkout. Still, we want to a new page. And if you select the summary over here, you see that the event is still not fired, right? Because we clicked on checkout. And if you see the link click over here, it doesn't have the view card class over here. But now we'll do something different. We'll hover over this place. Let's go to homepage, hover and click on view card. Let's see. Now here is the link click, right? It should have the view card. All right. And the tag that got fired was our mini view card tag. You see, that's where the event is working, and it's working because now we understand what a click is, what a link click is, and so on. Okay, that's the power. And you can also see this inside your analytics. So if I go to reports, real-time overview, there you see in the real-time overview, you see event count. The mini view card event has fired once. Okay, and there's some other details over there. We'll not worry about that. But that's what tells you that your entire implementation of capturing the view card buttons clicks is successful. If you wait for another 24 hours to 48 hours, you'll see that your event report is also showing up. This events report is also showing up how many times the mini view card button got clicked. Okay, so far so good. That's one of the implementation. Now, if you're happy with this, all you can do is you can go and submit these changes. Okay, and it will be live. Moving next, we have seen how to track a click of a link using classes. But what if you want to track a click of not a link, but let's say this search box? Okay. So my goal is that whenever user clicks on this search box, what I want to do is I would like to track it. How many times users are generally clicking on this search box for typing something? Okay. Just click is what I want to track. I just want to track the click on this search box. Okay. Not more, not less. I don't want to track the typing of a text on that search box or search of a text, actual search on that search box. No, I just want to track the click. How to go about doing that? Now remember, I had told you that whenever there is a click on a link, there are two events that get generated: click and link click. But in case of a search box's click, only the click event will be generated, right? So our approach will be slightly different in this case. Now, if I go to the Google Tag Manager and I click on a new tag, okay. Now remember, we'll have to still write the trigger. So this is also the way you can do it. You can start from directly creating the tag. And this time our goal is to send an event to Google Analytics account about the click of that search box. Okay, that's our goal. So for doing this, let's start with the tag this time. Okay, I'll just show you different approaches as we move forward. So I'll click on this open area and I'll go to Google Analytics. We'll select Google Analytics for events. Here I'll push in the measurement ID. You know how we have done it already. Okay, this one. And then we'll give an event name. In this case, we'll say search box select. Okay, let's go with that. And we'll also give a name over here. We'll say event search box selected. Okay, now in the trigger, we don't have a trigger right now. Okay, so we'll have to write a new one. We can't use any existing ones, right? This one, as we know, will trigger something else. It will trigger the click of the view card button. So we'll click on this plus over here. Let's click on the plus. And here we can again write a new trigger. Okay, it's the same thing. If you do it from the trigger section inside the website versus here, it's the same thing. Okay, now here in the trigger configuration, let's click in this empty area. And this time we can't go with just links because this is not a link. This is a standard general element in HTML. So we'll select all elements. All right. And then we'll go ahead and select some clicks. Why? Because again, we need to give a qualifying criteria. This is not about click anywhere on the screen. This is about that particular input box on the screen, that is search. All right. So we have selected some clicks. Now here we can select click classes. Okay. And then contains. And let's see what classes do we have this time. So I'll right click on the search box, click on inspect. And you see that this time I've got this particular element. It is of input type element. It's not the A kind of element. As we had said, its type is search. All these attributes are present. There is an attribute called class, search field. So I can copy it from here. I come here. And remember, this time it's only one class that's present inside this element, isn't it? It's just one class equal to search field. There's no space and then another class name over here. So then what we can do is we can simply say equals and then push it like this. Okay, so click classes equals search field. This will work, but something else can also work. Another variation of the same thing is if you've got ID present over here, ID equal to this entire thing, right? And every element can have only one ID, unlike classes, which it can have multiple. Okay, so I can also make use of these IDs from the input elements. Okay, so I'll select this ID from here and you can just see what I'm going to do. I'll go to the Google Tag Manager and paste in the ID over here. Okay, exactly like this. And then here, instead of classes, I'll say ID equals this particular text. Okay, and I hope that you are able to figure out what I'm doing. This time I'm trying to compare the ID to the ID of that particular element. And remember that on a page, the ID is always unique. You don't have to look for another ID on the page that is, have the same text. It will never happen. HTML developers never do that. This ID must be unique. So once I do that, I give a name over here. And our trigger is ready. Let's save it over here. All right, so let's click on preview. Remember, the major difference between what we did previously and in this step is we did not use just links. We used all elements, right? Continue. Now we are going to test it. How do we test it? You know that on the screen, I'm going to select the search box, right, like this, and we see that the click happened and the search box selected also fired. So this is where we are also testing a new thing that we learned, that how to use click IDs. Okay, and overall you will see that this fired once. You can go to the Google Analytics account once again, go to the real-time overview, and you should be able to see that over here in the events, the search box select also fired. Now, if I had tried just links option with this kind of tracking, it may not have worked because there is no link click that's happening over here, right? That's the crux. That's the main important aspect of this entire tracking you should take home. And you also saw that there are two ways in which I can uniquely identify this element. Okay, by using classes, by using IDs. I'm going to create another video on this to explain how exactly, if you don't have both classes and IDs, how to work with these kind of elements. Okay, for example, if we go to this screen over here, you'll find many such elements that do not have classes or IDs. Okay, for example, this checkout, you see it has got a href and there's no other attribute that we can use here. No classes, no IDs, nothing, right? So the next release of the YouTube video will cover this, what to do when you are stuck in this kind of situation. Okay, so with that, I'll close this video. I hope that you are taking back some good information with you. And if that's the case, please do like, subscribe, and join me in my next video. Thank you for watching.